thing I do, but this guy I really have known for a long time. He's an old friend of mine. We used to work together, like, what, a decade ago, and I bumped into him again because it turns out he actually does a whole lot of stuff upstairs in Monster Gulf. And he was in stand-up comedy before. I remember we used to talk, we got along really well, lost contact, got back in contact, and he's interested in coming back into the stand-up comedy stage. He's been away for years on stand-up comedy, but he's kind of making his comeback. So I really want you guys to make him feel welcome. Please, everybody, put your hands together. Let's hear it for my good friend, Dr. J.
Notes. I need notes. The memory is not quite what it used to be. Thank goodness you mentioned couples. This is actually my second time back after a 4-year layoff. First time was last week. And I talked about one thing that happened to me, and I figured this is good subject material. I'm going to actually talk about it a little bit more, at least as long as this relationship progresses. And I am talking about this kid got a girlfriend. Now, that is actually shocking, because when you look like this, they are not lining up outside your door waiting to get a crack at you. The Duck Dynasty look can only go so far. But let me ask, because he already kind of mentioned a couple of you, but just by show of hands, how many couples do we have here? How many, or you're in a relationship? Anybody here, maybe the other significant other's not here, but how many people, by show of hands, in a relationship? And how many people single that are here tonight? See, now, I used to be in that category for way too many years that I care to mention, but I'm now in the relationship category, and it was not always easy for this guy. I used to always think that with girls I could hold my own, right, which is what they always asked me to do. And you know how a lot of guys like to play the field, right? A lot of guys play the field. I had to play with myself in the field for many, many, many years. It was very sad. First time I had sex, absolutely terrified. Absolutely terrified. I was all alone. It gets very hard holding up that magazine after a while, you know when you're holding up in the arm, right, kind of thing. First girlfriend I ever had left me before we even met. It's very sad. Second girlfriend that I had, that did not work out at all. That did not last. She was not my type. Inflatable. In fact, the inflatable girlfriend, now that I think about it, cheated on me with a guy, and now I got an inflatable guy looking for me. How sad is that? But anyways, oh yeah, it's interesting. You know how girls, a lot of girls, you know, from the Tom Cruise movie, right, Renee Zellweger, they use that line, you had me at hello, right? I always heard for many years, you lost me at hello. It's such a sad life. So what I decided to do is I decided to do a little bit of research. A little bit of research on the subject of women, relationships, girls, and I went all the way back to the first woman, the first wife, first gal, Eve, right, Adam and Eve. And I found that in the beginning, it was messy. A lot of dishes piled up, a lot of clothes and stuff lying around. So God said we need someone to pick things up. So he took a rib from man, right? He took the rib that used to go across our stomach, which held our bellies in, which explains that mystery. And with that rib, he created a new form of human being. He sent her to the man. She walked up to him. Remember, there were no clothes in those days. The man took one look at her and exclaimed, "Whoa, man." And that's how she got her name, Whoa, Man, right? Interesting history. Now, what I found from all the research I did, and the guys are going to love me for this, I discovered what the best type of girl to date is. Who the best gal that you want to date actually is. A school teacher. That is the best gal for guys that are wondering to date. Because with a school teacher, if you do something wrong, they make you do it over again. If you don't know what you're doing, they make you do it over again, especially in my case, which is interesting. Did a lot of research book-wise as well. I bought a book a couple of weeks ago called How to Make It Big. And boy, was I ever pissed off when I found out it was about money. But then I met Emily. Sweet Emily, who's now my girlfriend right now. And so we're going to see how long this lasts. It's interesting because when I first met Emily, she was afraid of the dark. Then she saw me naked. Now she's afraid of the light, of which I'm in a huge spotlight right now. The thing I love about Emily is she kind of having her as a girlfriend is sort of like buying a dishwasher, right? Like buying an electric dishwasher. I don't have to do it by hand anymore. right? The great thing about having a girlfriend. Speaking of naked, I don't want to get off subject here, but when I said she saw me naked a couple weeks ago, I went to a nude beach last summer. First time ever at a nude beach. A lot of people don't even know that Alberta does in fact have a nude beach. I think it's just outside of Calgary. But I went last summer and they kicked me out. They actually kicked me out of this nude beach. They told me it was impolite to point. Right? Crazy. But the thing I love about Emily is she always keeps me in line. She's really good at keeping me in line, no matter how many guys are ahead of me in that line. Which brings me to the next point, the next problem that I have. Trust, faithfulness, right? Cheating. So let me ask of the people that put their hands up who are in a relationship, how many of you trust your significant other implicitly? 100%. By a show of hands. Okay, good. Now, see, my concern with this is Emily and I, does anybody smoke here, by the way? Smoke cigarettes? Yeah? See, Emily and I, we actually don't smoke, but we only smoke after sex, oddly enough. Just like the stereotype, right? And you see in the movies or whatever. You have sex, good sex, hopefully, and you have a cigarette afterwards. We only smoke after sex. Now, I'm starting to get a little bit concerned about this, because I've had the same pack since 2001. She's up to 3 packs a day. What does that mean? Right? I have no idea. But it's got me very, very scared. Last week she went shopping, right? She went out to the grocery store. She bought a box of condoms, bought a dozen condoms, came home with the condoms, took 4 and went out. What does that mean? Right? She used to always say, Jay, I think you're 1 in a million. And now I'm starting to find out she might in fact be one, or I might be 1 in several million. It's got me a little bit concerned. But, so I talked about that a bit last week, and it's fascinating. As this relationship progresses, right, it's a great forum to kind of get it all off my chest talking about this. But I will admit, I'm a little bit distracted. Because last week when I did this for the first time in 30 years, I got sick. And literally, it does not happen often, which is good. But I mean, stuff nose, the flu, the cold virus, the whole works. So I phoned the doc and I said, what do you do? Do you get cough medicine? Do you get cough syrup and all that? And he said, nah, just let it run its course and all that. But he asked me, he said, have you ever had a physical? Ever? And I said, no, I have never had a physical at all. So I booked tomorrow for my first physical ever, and I'm going for the whole works. Heart test, lungs, kidneys, liver, what else? Blood tests. Stayed up all night studying for my blood test. And a prostate exam, right? Got to get that done. And I'll tell you something right now, that's got me worried. Prostate exam, I'm worried specifically about 2 things. One, that I most certainly, definitely, and obviously I'm not going to be enjoying that experience. And 2, that I just might certainly and positively be really enjoying that experience. Right? Because if they tickle just the right spot, ecstasy. Doctor also told me he wants a urine sample, a stool sample, a semen sample. So I figured, what the hell, I'm just going to give him a pair of my underwear and go home. Because it's all there. Again, now, see, if you mention underwear to some people, right, they think, well, we all think different things, but I'm always reminded of that one Halloween a couple years ago. I couldn't figure out what to dress up as for Halloween. So I said to my dad, gotta go to this party, gotta dress up, and I don't know what to wear for Halloween. So my dad said, well, why don't you put a pair of underwear on your head and go as an asshole? Dads. Hey, by the way, look at this. See, I put these on notes, but I didn't even know this. You know, when you're a comic book nerd geek, right, you have these, but look at the back of this. The Ultimate Warrior. See? And he just passed away, right? Isn't that sad, eh? And I didn't even know that till I, looked at that. Very, very odd. Anyways, I got to mention this because I do make my living as a magician in this city, and as Sean mentioned, right above us, literally right above us at Monster Mini Golf. Show of hands, how many people have been there? Anybody actually been to? Now, does anybody remember me from there? Did I do anything, any magic with anybody? Yeah? Awesome. Gonna do something really quick right now. I'm not here to plug that place, but if you're ever looking for something to do, all right, and if you've been there before, you know what I'm talking about. It's more than just golf, especially on the weekend when I'm there. We'll give you a whole magic show and all that. But I'm gonna test something out here. Maybe I did this with you guys because I see you nodding. But so, ma'am, if you could, think of a number between 1 and 10, but don't say it out loud. Okay, got it? Watch this. Watch how good I am. Your number is number 8. Am I right? I'm wrong? Son of a gun, look at that. That just cost me a free pass to Monster Mini Golf. See, so if you want, you can use that. Come anytime you want. Sir, same thing. Number between 1 and 10. Do not say it out loud. Let me know if you've got it. Okay, got it? Watch this. Redeem myself. Here we go. Well, that's an easy one. Number 4. Is that your number? Son of a gun, there's another pass that cost me the Monster Mini Golf. It's a nice intimate group here. I should probably give one to everybody, actually. Anyways, this is kind of cool doing this. Stand-up comedy is kind of, never would have expected to be back at this. Hopefully, you know, set out to get a couple of laughs. If anything, the smiles are always deafening, and nothing tops a sitting ovation, which is absolutely awesome. But, and by the way, when I started doing this 20 years ago, it has been that long, I was nothing, right? I was nobody, a zero, absolutely nowhere. And look at where I am now. What am I now? Consistent. May the force be with you, live long and prosper, and always remember to help control the pet population. Have your pets spayed or neutered. Good night.
Hey, let's hear it for Dr. J. Dr. J. Dr. J.